Hello, friends. Welcome back to What Cat Reads. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. It is the end of October, which means that it's time for my TBR for the month of November. This month, I don't really have a big plan in place. During October, I did a lot of kind of spooky reads and really enjoyed that. November is kind of a weird month for me. This is our last month before the winter break for our co-op. And so I don't know exactly what things are going to look like. We have a lot going on for these last 3 weeks of school, and then we will be on winter break. But I have to be able to get my students ready for their homework that they'll have over winter break. So how much reading time will I have? No idea. So this month I'm going to lean a little more towards mood reading, and then along with some of the read-a-thon or read-alongs that I'm looking forward to. So let's jump right in. First up, I'm going to be continuing the read-along of Twilight this month. For the month of November, we are on Breaking Dawn with Sarah's Shelves, and I'm just really enjoying this, coming back to it again. For those who don't know, this is the story of Bella, a human who has fallen in love with a vampire and is best friends with a werewolf. And just the teenage angst that comes with being in high school, graduating, and all of the love triangles that we experience in YA fantasy that, at least for me personally, were never really a thing. But that's the first one. This one I will definitely be reading during the month of November. Another book that I definitely will be starting in November that I've been doing a read through of is Shadow of Night. If you saw last month during October, I said that I was doing a real-time read-through of Discovery of Witches. That actually ends on November 1st. That's the last day. And then this one picks up from there. And the events cover from November to July. So there won't be a real-time read-through of it. It's just a little harder to make those dates kind of work and keep interest in and things like that. Plus, it ends up being a really long read-through. So there are two options that I haven't decided which one I'm going to. I am leaning more toward the second one that I'm going to talk about. But the first one is going to take 3 chapters at a time starting on November 7th. And they'll read 3 chapters every Monday, Wednesday, Friday as a group. And then just talk about it on Instagram. And that one is part of the AS or All Souls read through. I'll put a link in the description for that one on Instagram. And then the other one is reading a chapter a day through November, December, and into the beginning of January. It's a little bit slower of a read through, but for a lot of my schedule, that might actually work best and keep me in the world a little bit longer. So I'm not entirely sure which one I will pick, but I will be doing a vlog of reading through this that I'll put out whenever I do finish the book. The next book that I definitely will be reading in November is The Hobbit. My daughter and I actually started this one for her literature in October, but our audiobook from the library had to be returned due to holds for the next person in line. But we are listening to the Andy Serkis production narrating The Hobbit. We got through to chapter 12, which is the first 2 movies, and then so this month, as soon as we get the audiobook back, we will read the last 6 chapters of the book, and then we'll continue watching the movies with that. This is, if you don't know The Hobbit, we follow a creature called the Hobbit named Bilbo, and his adventure to help a group of dwarfs to rescue their mountain and their treasure from the dragon Smaug. A lot of fun. I remember reading this in 7th grade. And in 7th grade, we listened to the audiobook as well. And then now with my daughter being in 7th grade, I really wanted to share this one with her. So I'm excited to finish this one with her this month. In the month of September, I did read Grimrose Girls. The second novel in this series comes out on November 1st. So I'm going to try to get a copy of that one and read it to continue the series. I really had fun with this one. This one follows friends Ella, Yuki, and Rory, who are all part of the Grimrose Academy, and they find that their academy is not quite exactly what they thought it was, and many of the characters, or many of the girls in the academy, their lives parallel fairy tales, and they are trying to figure out what's going on. In this one, we started off with the death of their best friend, and in this they kind of work through trying to figure out what's going on, and then in the second book they continue trying to find out the bigger picture. So I'm looking forward to reading, I believe that's The Wicked Remain is the next book in this series, and I am looking forward to reading that one. Another series that I have been reading is the Up and Under series. This is the second book, Along the Saltwise Sea. The third book for this series by A. Deborah Baker, came out at the end of October, and I am looking forward to continuing the series with the third one. In this, we have Avery and Zib have climbed over a wall that appeared in their neighborhood, and it has taken them to a magical realm. I believe that this is a series that is mentioned in another book by Sean McGuire, who then went ahead and wrote this series as if it were a real series before his books, and used the pen name A. Deborah Baker. I really have enjoyed this one. It's a lot of fun. Reminds me a little bit of Narnia. It's kind of that portal fantasy. Lots of fun. Another book that actually was on my TBR in the past that I am looking forward to getting to this month is Firefly Generations. I planned on reading this one in August, and life just happened and I did not get to it. Or maybe it was September. Anyway, I had planned originally to get to this earlier in this year and just did not. So I am looking forward to continuing this series. In this one, we have Captain Mal, and he gets a map to one of the original arcs that brought people from the earth that was. And of course, River, being River, is going to interfere in some of this because of feelings that she gets from this arc when they get there. And I am sure chaos is going to ensue, along with lots of hilarity. Another book that I'm going to try to get to during November is A Winter's Promise. This one was on September's TBR, and I ran out of days in the month before I got to it. This one, I have a little bit more of a time frame to finish it so that I can return it back to my sister. So I'm just really, this is one that she was on the fence about and needed someone to talk to about it. So I'm going to read it and hopefully be that sounding board for her. In this one, we are following Ophelia, who possesses two special gifts: a talent for seeing an object's past and the ability to travel through mirrors. And so she's going to go on some adventures there. In the month of October, I really leaned hard towards spooky books. And there were a couple books that I did not put on my TBR that in hindsight I kind of wish I had, just because of their main characters, I guess. The first is Kingdom of the Cursed. I read Kingdom of the Wicked last year. Really enjoyed it. I had an arc for it. And then I now have this one, which I have had since it came out and just have not had the time to get to this one. In this one, we are still following Amelia. We are still following... Yes, Amelia. Who is trying to avenge her sister's death. Amelia is a witch and has been warned against fraternizing with the demons. And she is not only fraternizing with them, but she is on her way through the 7 circles of hell. And so I'm going to try to get this one read. Hopefully I will still be in the mood for those kind of witchy tales now that October is over. Following that same kind of line of thought, I have Nature of Witches. I've actually had this one since Christmas last year on my shelf to read. I don't know very much about this one. I just know that last year everyone was reading it and really enjoying it. This one is going to follow Clara, who doesn't want anything to do with her power. She is a witch. And there, with her magic, it comes with a price, and she doesn't want to pay that price in losing her family. And so this is going to follow her in her tale. So there you have it. There are some books that I'm going to read or try to read during the month of November. a mix of read-alongs, a mix of previous TBRs, continuing series, and books that have just been sitting on my TBR for a really long time. So, what are you reading during November? Are you setting a hard TBR, or are you just kind of mood reading? Let me know in the comments. And I will see you next time.